Hello, my name is Brant Hunt, and my channel simply is Discerning What is True. I'm going to be reading from a book here by Phil Langdon, the book of Revelations, that is, the Revelations of the Holy Spirit, decoded by Phil Langdon. This is chapter 10 I'm going to be reading. It's a very short chapter tonight. It's just simply called The Angel and the Little Scroll. And this is the scroll he's talking about here is the number 10 card in the Rider-Waite tarot cards, that is. Okay, so let's get into this chapter here. That is chapter 10, and it shouldn't take that long. And we'll do another chapter here. It'll be chapter 11. And the wheels in fortune wheel, that is the 10th card of the tarot, is the dealing out of fate, that is good or bad, depending on how we look at it. Losing a job may be a blessing in disguise. Gaining a fortune may be the greatest burden we have faced. Looking for a silver lining or the truth behind a situation is in the eye of the beholder and how clearly they can see through the duality haze of good and evil. The 10th Hebrew letter is Yod, Y-O-D, number 10, the letter from God as creator and the number of Sephirah in the tree of life. The meaning of Yod is a Yid, a Jew, you see. The Yod can also represent a Yod, Y-A-D, a hand, which is an allusion to God. How do we differentiate between the Yod that represents God and Yud in the capital Y-U-D that alludes to man? The name of God is composed of two consecutive Yuds, Y-U-D-S, one immediately adjacent to the other. The two Yuds constitute a vital force in two of God's names. The first name of God, the tetragrammaton, is spelled Yud-Hig-Vav-He. I'll spell that to you. Y-U-D, He, H-E, V-A-V, He, which represents God as he is beyond nature. The second name of God is Ananiah. It signifies how God, the master of the universe, manifests himself in nature. So one is beyond nature, and the other one is manifested in nature. It doesn't mean God is in nature, but is manifested. That is a characteristic of God. That's what I'm thinking. The Yud at the beginning of the tetragrammaton and the Yud at the end of Ananiah come together. A Yud followed by another Yud to represent a fusion of these two expressions of godliness. This fusion is an affirmation of the fact that while we live in a physical world of natural order, God is truly the one and only spirit behind the Alpha and Omega. And that is it for chapter 12. So we're just going to continue on. I thought it was a little longer than that. But it isn't. Chapter 11 here we're going to go ahead and go into. So the book of, no, sorry, I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself here. Chapter 10, that is the book, reading of chapter 10, okay? In sequence, the 10th chapter focused on the Son of God as we stand in the principle of activating the 7th chakra with the Archangel Michael. Verse 1, and I saw another mighty angel coming down from heaven. He was robed in a cloud with a rainbow above his head. His face was like the sun, and his legs were like fiery pillars. So what he's showing is something is what has happened to Phil Langdon when he was at Angkor Wat. And he's the only one that knows this because he's the only one that's actually ascended at this point. Yet another, quote, mighty angel, end quote, is the Son of God from heaven, robed in a cloud with a rainbow of angels above his head, symbolically speaking, as the 7 core colors of the rainbow. His face shines bright as the solar body, and his legs are also his 2 arms. There are only 2 beams that protrude from the cloud front. However, if we consider the cloud portrayed in a variety of orientations, we can think of the 2 beams as his legs resting on the footstool of a cosmic egg, horizontal. Vertically, however, the Son of God walks on the water of the abyss. His beams are also like sunbeams or fiery poles or pillars. We can choose a variety of associations that refer to the same form. Verse 2. He was holding a little scroll which lay open in his hand. He planted his right foot on the sea and his left foot on the land. And he gave a loud shout like the roar of a lion. So the Son of God, he's illustrating here, this is Phil explaining what it means. Solar logos, nos, that is, holds the scroll, the illuminate, open in his right hand at the seventh beckoning chakra, and plants his feet in the samadhi divisions of the sea, navel. So they're illustrations again of the elements, you see. And the land, the what you call the sexual part of the male and female. The two lowest divisions, that is, roaring as the lion he is in his solar power. When he speaks, the voice of the seven thunders are the mystery teachings of the illuminate, directly given by the divine experience, related by the seven vows in association with illuminate's seven chakras. Verse 4 here. When he shouted, the voices of the seven thunders spoke. Verse 4. And when the seventh thunder spoke, I was about to write, but I heard a voice from heaven say, quote, seal up what the seven thunders have said and do not write it down, end quote. Verse 5, quote, then the angel I had seen standing on the sea and on the land raised his right hand to heaven. Verse 6, and he swore by him who lives forever and ever, who created the heavens and all that is in them, the earth and all that is in it, and the sea and all that is in it, and said, quote, there will be no more delay, end quote. So when the, quote, seven thunders spoke, as Phil gives an illustration here, the seven vows in association with divine insight, the illuminate is divinely activated. I'll say that again. When the seven thunders spoke, the seven vows in association with divine insight, the illuminate, as someone who's pursuing these deep things, has this particular illumination in their lives, or salvation, or ascension, is divinely activated. The mystery teachings that is hidden, quote, do not write it down, end quote, may refer to the technique of opening the eye of wisdom by unifying dual opposites in a thought experiment while in the sacred trance. The angel of spirit and energy recognizing God as his father and the reason for all these aspects of reality. And he has brackets here saying, God created the heavens and the earth. Raised his hand to heaven, his right hand, to override the physical centers with, quote, no more delay. Verse 7 from the scriptures here, chapter 10. But in the days when the seven angels about to sound his trumpet, the mystery of God will be accomplished, just as it announced to his servants, the prophets. Then the voice that I had heard from heaven spoke to me once more, go, take the scroll that lies open in the hand of the angel who is standing on the sea and on the land. Verse 9, so I went to the angel and asked him to give me the little scroll. He said to me, take it and eat it. It will turn your stomach sour, but in your mouth it will be as sweet as honey. Verse 10, I took the little scroll from the angel and ate it. It tasted as sweet as honey in my mouth, but when I had eaten it, my stomach turned sour. Verse 11, then I was told, you must prophesy again about many people, nations, and languages, and kings. So here's Phil's identification and explaining what it means. The Son of God hands John a scroll to eat. Why would he do that? Just as we refigured and rebuilt reality to ourselves after we find the light, so we can use its truth to understand the ancient texts written by those who ascended before us. All we need ask ourselves is, at what stage is John in this point of the drama? Phil continues on and says, he is ascended and is about to return to his body. A scroll, this is in parentheses, a scroll with writings on both sides. In parentheses, the scroll tastes sweet when he eats it, as the moment of ascension. but sour when it returns to physical life. To quote, prophesy again about many peoples, nations, languages, and things, end quote, referring to those throughout his own body as much as to the world at large. Phil goes on to analyze this more. In other words, when he returns to his body, he can tell people about the nature of reality he is now privy to and help souls become spiritualized. But it will not be easy. Incarnation can be a sour experience after ascension, especially if we are compelled to tell people about the truth we have experienced while ignorance is ripe. And I think that's the summation of simply is that there's so few that will actually pursue this. It's just them; it doesn't make any sense to them. In fact, it sounds to them more in sense when they believe it to be quote unquote literal, but they don't realize that. You see. So that's our conclusion of chapter 10 tonight. Very short chapter here. So let's get back over here real quick here. And so thank you. This is a very short, one of the shortest chapters in what I'm sharing. This is the revelation of the Holy Spirit decoded by Bill Langdon. This is chapter 10. And the chapter is simply called The Angel and the Little Scroll, which is actually in this particular book that Phil Langdon shared. My suggestion, if you want to read these books, is that you can get the app called Dropbox, and you can go to Phil Langdon's YouTube channel and scroll down, and you can actually download these books for free. Or if you do want to have a book like this particular book here I'm sharing, you can go to Amazon and request the books that he has written. I think Phil's written at least 5 or 6, maybe more than that, 5 or 6 books, roughly that, I think. I think I got 3 of them. And you can get these books and buy them. And what Amazon does simply is they'll say it's not in stock. Well, of course, it's not in stock, because what they do is simply they are downloads from Phil, and then what happens when someone buys it, they actually print the book. That's how it works. Okay. All right, guys. Take care. It's getting late here on the East Coast, a little after 10 o'clock. Wish you well. Again, for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear, may you see the truth. Okay. All right. Take care. Have a good night.